It's often forgotten that when video games were coming back in the mid to late 80s, you had a first choice with the NES, but also a second choice in the SMS. The Sega Master System, while not the company's first home console, it was their first on US shores to bring their catalog of games as well as new titles home in a slightly better 8-bit form compared to the NES. So in order to stand out in their 1986 debut in the States, they made obvious changes to make it the system to own, one of which being a fresh coat of sleek paint and a controller to match. This is the Sega Master System control pad, the primary controller for the Sega Master System. On first glance, it's easy to say it looks similar to the NES controller. I mean, why wouldn't you want to copy a formula that's already proven to work? But as we're gonna get in for a closer look, you'll find it's not all the way similar. I think some may have dismissed the differences at first because of the similar color layout, but Sega's a dark horse with its darker controller. Taking a closer look at the control pad, this is their D-pad, which is a squircle-shaped pad with rigid lines poking out to better help the thumb determine what direction you're pressing. While it's okay, although a little awkward in my opinion, I'm wondering why they didn't try out a more similar looking D-pad that the NES had. It's true Nintendo had the patent and copyright at the time for this design, but it didn't stop them from later copying the look to an extent, but slightly changing how it operates to avoid lawsuits. If you're wondering why there's a darker circle in the middle here, the first model had the option to insert a small thumbstick in the center of the D-pad. The second model, which this is, covered it up, then a third model removed it altogether. Moving over to the right past the Sega logo, we have your typical buttons labeled 1 and 2 as opposed to A and B from the competition. The buttons themselves are softer in comparison to the NES, I find. I'm unsure what it is, but you may say the same if you compared the two. I'm guessing either they figured out a better way to ensure button input smoothly, or these haven't been used much. No matter the case, you may have noticed that the word start is over the 1 button. That's because, technically speaking, this button pulls double duty, though I don't think you can use this to pause. In fact, I know that isn't the case because the pause button is on the console itself. Perhaps the weirdest placement for a pause button ever, if we're being honest, and where the hell is there even a select button? There isn't much more to talk about on the front apart from one tiny detail. If you tilt the control pad at an angle, you'll notice a few protrusions in some places that, to my guess, better highlight the parts of the controller that are being used. Mine are a little scratched up, but I assume these also doubled as a layer of protection. But now we're moving on to the most important part of any controller, which I say this in sarcasm, the back, as it has barely anything here. You got your model number, Sega Enterprises logo, and Taiwanese origin, but the most surprising thing is the fact that it needs 6, count 'em, 6 screws to put this all together. I don't know why I made that a big deal, trying to make that part of the video more exciting, I suppose. But the most exciting part is seeing what this control pad can control. For games, the SMS control pad plays a good majority, if not all, Sega Master System games, and you can play plenty of good games like Alex Kidd, Space Harrier, Double Dragon, and if you stuck around long enough, Sonic the Hedgehog, along with many others. You can play even more titles if you lived in Brazil, as the Master System is the home console of choice even to this day, so this controller must be synonymous with video games in that country. Certainly isn't for this country, but in the alternate reality of the Brazilians, Sega won the pre-console war, console war. The Sega Master System control pad is fine, that's pretty much all I can say. Not an exact copy of Nintendo's Entertainment System controller, but not as good either. It just hits that middle point where it's acceptable. You'll have to grab one when getting a Master System. Should grab 2 if one of them has the hole that allows the thumbstick. I'm still wanting to know how that would feel like. Probably not the best. From the looks of it, it could probably give you a gnarly hole in your own thumb. Most likely worse than any Nintendo thumb case I've ever experienced. Got any fond memories with this controller/accessory? Tell me about it by leaving a comment. If you like what you see, be sure to leave a like. If you think others would like this, share the video around. And if you want to see more, hit that subscribe button pronto. This is BrianTheBlue, and I'll see you later.